You are not alive just because you are breathing, or just because your heart still beats. A person in a coma can be kept physiologically alive for years, but that's not life. Life requires one to be conscious. So the question, is there life after death, is the same as the question, is there a consciousness after death? Scientifically speaking, our consciousness depends absolutely on the body to exist. It is a product of oxygen and glucose processed by the brain. It depends on oxygen, and that is the whole science behind yoga and all the breathing techniques. And it also depends on glucose, and that is why a person will start hallucinating and end up losing consciousness after several days without eating food.
It's you. Yeah, it's me.
So the body is dead means you're dead, because the brain will die and thus stop producing consciousness, which is what life is all about.
Jesus Christ!
You might say, but consciousness might leave the body after the body dies. That is impossible. Human consciousness depends absolutely on the nervous system, which relies on your senses in order to understand the outside world and thus being conscious. And experimentally speaking, if you are deprived from your senses, you will not at all produce the same consciousness that you are experiencing right now. And generally speaking, if you were born without any senses, will there be any consciousness?
No way.
You might also say, but we have souls, and souls are certainly going to survive death because they don't depend on the body. Scientifically speaking, there is no soul, because if it exists, then what is its role? Is it that thing that is making you conscious and thus alive? Absolutely no. We already said that consciousness is a product of the brain.
Consciousness is what the brain does, no question.
So is it that thing that is making your body warm so that it functions properly? Again, absolutely no. It is all just chemical reactions. So perhaps your soul is your free will. That is again not true, because you don't have a free will. You can literally be controlled by a remote control, just like a toy.
The vestibular system in our ears is what gives us a sense of balance, direction, and acceleration. By sending mixed messages to the vestibular system, the remote control can literally put you off balance, sending you to the right, the left, or straight ahead.
How do you feel? It feels like being pulled.
Your emotions can be manipulated without your consent. By being exposed to low electromagnetic fields, you can be made anxious, stressed, depressed, and even there are no other ways to alter your thinking and emotions, thus your behavior, and without your consent.
Technology being developed by the likes of Elon Musk, Apple, Meta, and OpenAI can change, enhance, and control your thoughts, emotions, even your memories.
Technology, it changed the game out here.
So what happens when we die? It's very simple. You see, when you go to sleep, if you sleep for 8 hours, then you will only dream for 2 hours. And so the remaining 6 hours, you will not be having any experience. That is exactly how it was before you were born, and that is exactly how it will be after you will die. And here I have a question. In those 6 hours, where is your consciousness?
Yeah.
This is just so that you can understand that consciousness as such doesn't exist. What we call consciousness is all just brain production.
And that's a fact.
But why are you afraid of death? You are afraid of death not because of death itself, for the simple reason because you haven't experienced it. You are afraid of death because of the idea of death being inside your head. So just get rid of the idea and you will be free from death.
It's all inside your head.
Remember that what we have said in this video is not a materialistic outlook at the afterlife, but rather a scientific existential outlook. And as William James said, truth is what works.